say that you're leaving, well, that comes as no surprise. Still, I kinda like this feeling of being left behind. This ain't nothing new to me. Well, it's just like going home. It's kinda like those sunsets that leave you feeling so stoned.
Hey, what's up, weirdos? It's Mark Splude, and this is episode 81 of the SPLUDECAST. And my guest this week, the one, the only, Matt Richardson. Yeah, Matt was in town here in St. John. He's a Miramichi guy. He was in St. John to headline Yuk Yuk's. Now, this is a big deal, man. First ever local guy, like New Brunswick guy, to headline Yuk St. John. I'm not going to count Mullinger in that group. He's kind of, he's a different deal altogether. Excuse me. And I know that Jimmy McKinley technically did headline there, but it was a co-headline. Not sure it really counts. Great for Jimmy, but this was a true headline spot for a New Brunswick comic at our local club here, and it was a big fucking deal, man. Sat down for a great chat with Matt. Matt, hasn't been on this podcast for a couple years, and it was great to see Matt and to shoot the shit. More than anything, man, it was great to see Matt fucking destroy on stage. I went out to see him Thursday night. Had a little hot date with St. John Ford and Mr. Arf Hussein. Dan McCarthy showed up. Matt Keenan showed up. But hey, man, not too many other comics showed up, and that was a little fucking disappointing. I got to tell you, boys, if you're listening out there, guys, if you want people to support you when you're doing shows and big shows, or your first headlining here, or your first middle spot there, if you want guys to come out and support, you gotta fucking come out and support the dudes, man. That's what you gotta do. You gotta come out and support these guys when they get these big opportunities. And what else you're showing is that you're showing the club owners that it fucking matters when one of us get booked there. We gotta send a fucking message here. I was really disappointed at the lack of local comics that came out to support Matt in his first headlining set. I mean, listen, man, Matt is fucking hilarious. The guy's a killer comic. And if for nothing else, you should have came out to see a damn good show, and maybe you would have learned something that would help you to the next level, right? Anyway, it pisses me off, man. It really does. It pisses me off to see not enough support from the other comics. Everyone wants you out at their fucking shows, Yeah, they don't want to come out to yours. Anyway, little disappointing. Nevertheless, great to see Matt. He fucking killed it Thursday night. I heard he killed it Friday as well. Haven't heard a report from Saturday, but Saturday typically at Yuk's is the hottest night, so I'm sure he destroyed Saturday night too. Anyway, I went over to the Yuk's comedy condo and chilled out with Matt for a couple hours, shot the shit, and I think we got a pretty good podcast. Now, there was, listening back to it, there was one spot that had major audio problems. I don't know what the fuck happened. We were talking about some country music, and this fucking whine, this high-pitched whine was coming through the audio. I don't know what it was from. I don't remember anything happening in the room when we were sitting there shooting the shit. I don't know what happened. There's a fucking glitch in the matrix. But anyway, there is a missing piece there. It may seem not quite as smooth as the rest of it in that one spot. We do jump around. So prepare yourself for that. Other than that, man, it was a great talk with Matt. He was a little subdued. He was a little quiet. His energy levels were a little low. But it was still a great conversation. I'm not going to talk a lot about the show itself because Matt and I do deconstruct that quite a bit in this podcast, so I'm not going to do that. And in fact, I'm not going to do a big, long intro here. Guys, I'm busy as fucking shit right now, all right? I'm moving. Work is fucking crazy. I got a bunch of shows coming up that I got to write shit for. I got a show coming up in 3 days at the R Bar. No Jokes Barred Saturday night, and I got to come up with something. I got nothing right now, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do there. I got Hell's Comedy Basement, March 29th with Mike Dambra, hosted by Drake Tobias. I got to write shit for that. And for the following 2 nights, the 30th and the 31st of March at Chuckles Comedy Club in the Parkway Mall, Brian Godso, Andrew Vaughn, Mark Splude, Mike Dambra. I got to write shit for that. I have no idea what I'm doing there. It's Chuckles. I got to bring my fucking A game, man. I love that club. I love that venue. Those crowds always love me, but man, they love me because I work hard and bring them fucking fire. And I got to sit down and figure out what kind of fire I'm going to bring there. But it is challenging, man. I'm literally right in the middle of this fucking move. I got about a quarter of my stuff already at the new place. And it's a process, man. I'll tell you, the top 2 floors of my house, piece of cake. It's already mostly packed, no trouble. But my fucking basement is gonna be an absolute nightmare. I got to tear through that on Sunday. But yeah, it's busy, man. Life's busy. You know, I got a couple kids. I got a busy job. I got the fucking move going on. I got the comedy going on. I got the podcast always going on. Hey, speaking of that, man, night before last, I sat down with Dan McCarthy for a great fucking podcast. That'll be the next one. That'll be episode 82. Dan McCarthy. Just a fucking joy to hang out with Dan. We, you know, us comics, we don't see Dan very much. You know, he's a busy guy. He's a devoted father. He does not like to take time away from his kids very often. And so it's a special treat, man. You get to sit down and talk to Dan for a couple hours. I dug it, man. We had a great time. And Dan's a great guy. That's going to be episode 82. But yeah, I just busy as hell, you know. And right now, Jesus Christ, right now we are getting fucking hammered here in New Brunswick by a major nor'easter. Tons of fucking snow. The snow is just nonstop. Started late yesterday. Snowed all fucking night. Still snowing. And I've already snowblowed my driveway 3 fucking times from this one storm. I'm getting sick of it. You know, and I got to do it right after this podcast. I got to go back out. You know, not like I have the fucking time to do it, but we live in Canada. It's a reality. I got to get out there and get it done. Like I said, this is going to be a short intro, man. It's a great fucking conversation here with Matt and I. I don't want to steal Matt's thunder. I just want to extend another huge congratulations to Matt Richardson for being chosen to headline Yuk Yuk's. No one deserves it around here more than Matt. He's been working longer and harder than anybody else. He always comes with the new material. Very, very consistent top comic here in New Brunswick. It was a treat to watch him perform. It was a treat to talk to him. Episode 82 with Matt Richardson. Drive her into you. I'm having illusions, all this confusion driving me mad inside. I'm having illusions, all this confusion fucking me up in my mind. I'm having illusions, all this confusion driving me mad inside. I'm having illusions, all this confusion fucking me up in my mind. Motherfuckers be driving me up the walls, hoping that I fall, but they can hit my balls. Straight jacket, strap it in the padded room. Let's see how you sound now. Give me something beautiful. Give me something.
Like this? How does
there
this sound?
Yeah, that sounds way better. All right, that sounds way better. So what'd you do last night? Did you go out and about?
No, I quite, I don't want to say I'm too cool, but I came home and I watched Jessica Jones on Netflix. It was delightful.
It's superhero shit?
Yeah, it's superhero shit.
Yeah. What's the premise of this show? Like, is she? It's a girl, obviously, right?
Yeah. It is a
that
girl.
Makes sense. It's 2018. Everything's
2018. She's a very powerful superhero.
Right. What's her power?
Very
power?
Strong.
Just strength.
Strength, and she jumps like really high.
Oh, she can jump.
She can jump. Super strong.
Don't they give the women the shittiest fucking powers? She can kick really high.
She's a detective,
right?
Man. She's just like Batman.
Oh, she's a detective as well.
She's Batman with superpowers. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does she have the same kind of money, though? That's
no, she is broke.
Yeah.
And she's kind of a disaster.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
What do you mean, like romantically?
Just across the board.
Across the board.
Yeah.
Is she getting laid on the show?
She does.
She does?
She does get laid on the show.
Now, does she manhandle the dudes, throw them across the fucking room?
There is some of that.
Oh, is there really?
There's
real, though?
There's some broken beds. You know, this is serious stuff here, okay?
She's fucking him so hard she's breaking the beds.
I'm telling you, okay?
Dude, I am
spoiler
intrigued.
alert.
Sure.
I feel I should have said spoiler alert
fuck
at this
the spoiler.
point.
Listen. I got no respect for my listeners. Fuck them, you know? If they listen to me this long, they got no respect for themselves anyway, Matt, all right? Yeah, I got to check out this show, I think.
No, you do.
Yeah, what is there, one season on Netflix right now?
There's one season. This is the second season that just started, and it's part of the Defenders series.
Okay.
You heard about Daredevil and Iron Fist.
Yeah,
and, Luke Cage.
Iron Fist.
So yeah, they're all going around New York saving lives, man.
Oh, it's all in New York, eh? Yeah, I'll check it. I'm not real hot on the comic book movies. I love Doctor Strangelove was a good one.
You got a goddamn Deadpool shirt on right now.
That's
man.
right. That's true. But you know where I got this shirt? My son gets monthly loot crates.
Mark
And this
Splude
was
is a hypocrite.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
He's saying, fuck those superhero
And Maddie
movies,
calls me out on it.
but
She-
look at my Deadpool shirt I have on because I'm sponsored by Loot Crate.
That's
Are you
right.
sponsored by Loot Crate now?
Not yet. It hasn't been finalized yet, Matt.
Okay.
All right. No, but I did love the Deadpool movie. Did you like that movie? A lot of the
I love the
comic book-
Deadpool
You did,
movie,
yeah.
yeah.
A lot of people that are big on the comic book movies didn't like it.
And I mean,
I love it.
that was the movie that showed that you could do an R-rated superhero movie,
Yes.
and that people would not only love it, critics would love it, but the crowds, like, I don't know how much money it made, like $300 million. It was nuts. It made like a ton of money. And then that led directly to Logan, the movie Logan getting greenlit, which just got nominated for Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay.
And was it R-rated as well?
Yeah, it was
Logan?
R-rated,
Oh, nice. Okay.
like super with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and it's
I should probably check that out.
Oh, it's very good. It's like
good,
very viscerally violent, but
really?
yeah, but it's the storyline's epic, and Patrick Stewart's in it, and it's great.
Nice. I got to check that out. Yeah, I love Deadpool. I love Doctor Strangelove. That's about it for me. But anyways, let's get off this fucking, teenage fucking bullshit.
This guy thinks we've been talking about Twilight for the last fucking 8 minutes.
Off air, we've been talking a lot about Twilight. That's what's been happening. I'm drinking chocolate milk. You're drinking Alpine. Talking about Twilight. It's been a while since you've been on this Bluecast, Matt.
It has been a while, man. It's good to be back.
I think the last time was when you and I did the very first ever Chuckles Comedy Club
first
show.
ever,
Yeah.
Okay?
First ever.
Splude was there. Richardson was there.
Let's get Barnes up here, and we'll get Shane over, and we'll battle about, anyway. Jesus Christ. Very first.
And Chuckles is amazing. Chuckles is an amazing
Chuckles is
comedy
awesome,
club.
man. This club is awesome.
This club's amazing.
We're recording this in the condo, Yuk Yuk's, where, Matt, you're headlining this weekend. Fucking congratulations for that, by the way.
Thanks, man.
We're gonna talk a lot about that. So you and I did that first show at Chuckles with Casey Corbin, right?
Yeah.
Who else was on that show? Did you host that show?
No,
did Shane?
I think like we kind of double middled
Yeah.
because we each did 20,
Right.
and then Casey headlined and Shane hosted.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I don't even know if we had any. I think we just switched off on the weekend. Like,
Yeah.
I followed you, and then you followed
Right.
me, and then Casey, the killer, man.
Ah, he's a killer. He's so fun. You know what I like about him? He's not like he's kind of lower energy, but man, he's got some heavyweight punches.
Yeah.
Heavyweight, man. He gets talking about the crayons.
The crayons and like Lego, and like he's just a really fun writer. Like,
Yeah.
He like writes about really cool subject matter.
And he's a sweet guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My favorite part about doing this is meeting other comics and just
Yeah.
meeting great people and obviously funny people. And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-minded people for the most part, you know what I mean? The problem with meeting comics is that, all comics are fucked in the head.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always work
Absolutely.
out, right?
That's
It doesn't always work out.
that's not a myth.
Yeah.
That's an absolute fact.
Oh, listen, yeah, you got to be crazy to want to fucking do it because, anytime I go to a comedy show, before I go on stage, I'm standing at the back of the room, maybe looking at the stage and going, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I here? What am I doing this for? Am I crazy? And then you go up and you grab the mic and it all makes sense. But before the show, for me, I'm like, why am I here? Why did I sign up for this? This is terrifying. I don't want to fucking do this, But you got to be a little crazy to do it, right?
Or like as you're gearing up for a show, like just the work that you're putting into it, and then you're like, am I doing enough? And am I going to be ready? And then when they call your name and you're walking up on stage, then that's it. You just got to do it.
You better be ready because you're going up now, whether you're ready or not. Isn't it the worst when you get called up early? Before you're supposed to be called up.
Oh,
you go,
yeah,
fuck, I'm not ready.
You're not in the mind space.
Yeah, that's terrible. I've seen that. I don't think it's ever happened to me, but I've seen it happen to a lot of people. I've seen it happen to the Rev, and he freaked out. Do you know? Have you met the Rev?
Yeah, man. I love the Rev.
All right. Yeah, I guess, because Rev's been working Yucks quite a bit, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I want to get down to Maine sometime.
Yeah.
Do one of his gigs, man.
Yeah, well, good luck getting across the border. I hope you have better luck than me.
Well, no hope for you to get across the border.
No hope for me. It's all over. The dream's over.
I wouldn't let you across my yard.
Yeah, see, well, and you're right. You're right on that, so... yeah, you know what I noticed? So you're headlining Yucks, man. It's fucking great. You put in your time. If anybody's deserving of that around here, it's you. And I mean, I think all the comics in this area are agreed that you're a fucking killer, But what I loved about, because I came and saw you Thursday night.
Yeah, thanks. A few of the guys came out on Thursday night. It's always great to see.
I wanted to see a lot more fucking comics out than that. 5 fucking comics. There should have been 25 comics, Matt. Seriously.
Well, it's like...
Local boy does good and headlines, Yucks, finally. Right? This is a big moment.
It's always good to see other comics out there that actually, will come to see you perform because... I know a lot of comics that, don't even really like watching stand-up comedy that much. Yeah. So they just kind of do it as their job. But to see you guys come out and support me, that was really great, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I was interested in seeing you do a long period because I've never seen you do longer than maybe 25 minutes. Maybe 30 at O'Leary's.
Yeah, I did the O'Leary's there once, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was really excited. But what I noticed watching you did about 45?
Yeah, it was
Thursday
about
night?
45,
Yeah, I kind of sort of timed it, and I think it was about 45. And what I noticed between the set that we did with Casey Corbin, there was very little from that 20 minutes in this 45 minutes, almost none. I think it was Are You a Doctor bit was the only bit that may have made, you know what I mean? And that wasn't that long ago, Matt. So that tells me you've been writing a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when I was going over my material I was going to do for this set, I've done longer sets in Memorization and other places.
Right.
But just when I was going through the material, I was seeing, and there's still quite a few bits that I've left out because just they're not fitting into what I want to perform for this weekend.
Yeah, right. No good transition into it. Didn't really make sense.
Yeah, and sometimes you're trying... when you're forging a set together, you're trying to shoehorn a joke in that you want, I want to do this joke, so where am I going to put it?
Yeah.
But sometimes I think it's a better decision to just leave it out. If it doesn't fit the performance that you want to give, then it's no sense shoehorning it in and making it for an awkward piece.
Yeah, even though you're going to get a good pop with it, right? If it doesn't make sense with the, I like that. That means you're really thinking about your material. You're not just going, well, that's a 20-minute bit that I have. That's a 20. We'll throw this together and whatever, right? So how long did you have to prepare for this headlining gig?
I probably found out about a month ago or so.
No shit, you were
month and a half.
You're fucking kayfabing it the whole time. You never said nothing to nobody.
No,
right?
I just I'm gonna do the St. John Club, and then I'm doing the Yuk Yuk Club in 2 weeks in Halifax.
Oh, nice. You're headlining there too.
Yeah,
excellent.
So it was just I don't talk about myself very much.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. You're a humble guy. You're a humble guy, Matt. What I always love about you, you're a humble, nice guy. You stay out of all the fucking drama. You're obviously. Oh, go ahead.
But I'm still insane like all the rest of the comics.
Oh, you're crazy as a bag of hammers. You just keep it to yourself. Yeah. So you'll die young for sure. You can't keep that. I'll live forever, man, because all my problems come right out of my mouth into this microphone through the fucking internet. You got to get it out.
Yeah.
So you've known for a month. So did you how long did it take you to actually prepare this 45?
Well, for me, I tend to just start to piece things together. Maybe on the weekends is when I get the most work done because I'm doing 9 to 5 as well.
Yeah.
But you just kind of start for a longer set. I always personally like to chop it up into like kind of 10, 12-minute segments.
Sure.
And then, depending on the length of the set I'm going to do, I'm going to do 4 of these, I'm going to do 5 of these, and just kind of have them. And then that like kind of leaves some breaks where if things kind of go off kilter, you got to like talk to the audience, you got to deal with something, then like you don't get too far off track from what the direction you wanted to take.
Yeah.
Because I'm big on flow.
You're not that big, Matt. Take it easy.
I'm pretty big this way. I'm 5'9", No, I'm really big on flow in comedy sets.
Yeah.
Like when something kind of makes sense from start to finish, it's just that much more enjoyable to me, like as a viewer and a listener. And so that's what I'm always focusing on most when I'm putting a set together, is just that it flows in a certain direction. Because sometimes abrupt kind of changes. It's weird. Like audiences are weird. Like all of a sudden, just the mood will change, and then it can like torpedo everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's just,
I agree with you. Like I that's the way I try to piece all my sets together. Whether it's a new 12 or I'm doing 60, whatever. I try to make it all flow. Like I'm telling almost one story, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, you're reaching a little to tie this one to that one, but it's still, there's some flow. It's kind of why I've never really loved the one-liners, because I think I'm like you. I enjoy, going on a ride like that,
It's tough with the one-liners because if you're going to be that type of comedian, that's fine. But, like, you kind of have to be just that rapid-fire one-liner after one-liner and just kind of burning through it, almost like a Vancouver comic. His name's escaping me right now, but he's, like, kind of the king of the one-liners. Amazing comic. But on the flip side, if you just like I enjoy one-liners, but like when I'm doing a comedy set, it's very hard to like just kind of throw a one-liner out there and then go into my next story or whatever.
Yeah.
So like as much as I don't really write them because like I don't do them in my sets, but like I really enjoy them when I hear like an awesome like pun or whatever.
Oh, for sure. Like Tony Hinchcliffe, his special last year, or I guess it was 2016. It was almost all one-liners. There was like one long story in it. Man, it was fucking tremendous. The guys who are really good at it, I really enjoy. Of course, Mitch Hedberg, right? Obviously, the fucking best ever. But, you got to have a certain kind of character yourself to carry that.
Yeah.
Right? I prefer long form myself, personally. I like a good, 10-minute, like you were saying, like a 10-minute bit. I like that.
Well, it's like the different skill sets of being able to hammer that one-liner out and like get the big reaction you're looking for, but also the flip side of doing, say, a 5-minute story and having it wrap up in like a really nice like tag at the end that like everybody just felt like they got taken on a journey or something, and then all of a sudden it arrives at the end and it's a payoff, and like that's like those are usually the biggest reactions that I'll get in a set. Is if like I'm paying off like a story well enough that at the end like there's enough of a blow line that people are like, oh fuck, that was
it was
great,
worth sitting through that without too many laughs, yeah. If you're gonna make people sit there and you're not worried about punch per minute, you're worried about getting the story out, you got to make it worth fucking while to people. How did you feel Thursday night? How did you feel?
It was good. It like whenever it's not going to be as big of a crowd as it usually is sometimes, you get a little worried about, like, especially with smaller crowds, if you don't grasp them right away and get their attention, then, you'll get those pockets of, like, people who all of a sudden say, this guy's a piece of shit. I don't find him very funny. So I'm just going to, like, talk about my day. And then this guy over here wants to, like, hit on the girl that he's with or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Everyone's checking their phones. Especially when they're spread out like that.
When
right?
they're spread out, yeah. Whereas in a bigger crowd, there's just more people that might be invested in paying attention.
Yeah.
So if you can get like the bulk of them, the rest of them will usually just like go along with the flock.
That's right.
Whereas in the smaller crowd,
if not those people that are into it, they'll try to herd those people in. Right? Like, hey, come on, this guy's doing something fucking good here, Yeah.
So both the nights I've performed, the crowds have been great. Been really receptive to everything, and you just hit them with some St. John stripper jokes to start off. Man.
Yeah. That was a great way for you to start that set, man. And that's a great bit too. So what is the longest set that you've done so far?
I did like an hour 10, at a show I did in Miramichi.
Nice.
That was like it was like in this small bar, and there's probably about 40 people there. And so it was like a very, like, I was the only one performing.
Right.
And I just
It was
basically...
just the Matt Richardson show.
Yeah, just the Matt Richardson show. It was mostly, like, my family, like, half of my family was there. It was mostly a show for them.
Right.
And so, like, you know, there was bits, but then, like, I'd, like, cut into, like, family stories. Because I knew, like, 20 people that were there that would know.
Fuck,
and
that'd be a fun show, though.
Yeah, and so, like, I was probably up there. Like, we got a video of it. I think it's about an hour 10 or an hour 15, something like that. Yeah.
When was this? When did this happen?
It was shortly after I got back from Toronto. I had sort of gone looking over my stand-up notes because I knew I was going to get back into it.
Yeah.
And then as I was doing that, one of the guys who I've taught martial arts to in the past, Troy Duffy, he ran this bar. And I went to class, and he was just like, "Hey, man, like, if you want to get back doing stand-up, you should just come by the restaurant, and we'll give you a night, and we'll, you know, give you some cash." So.
Oh, sweet! You got paid for it too.
Yeah.
Nice. Imagine that.
So I just called my family members, and I said, "Hey, if you guys have ever wanted to see me do stand-up, I'm gonna do a show here."
And a bunch of them came out.
And yeah, a bunch of them came
nice.
out, and yeah, it was a really fun show.
And was that at O'Donoghue's?
Yeah.
Was that the venue? Yeah. Yeah, I performed there once, way back in, I think it was 2013 maybe? Long time ago. Miramichi's a great place to do comedy, man.
Yeah, the crowds there are nuts.
Yeah.
They're like, you have to, I tell everybody that as long as everyone in town has like 2 months notice about a show, you can fill like a lot of places.
Yeah.
Because they just need that time to, like, you know, get babysitters, like, get planned and stuff like that.
Because they're not used to going out at night.
They're not used
There's
to
nothing
going
to fucking
out.
do.
There's nothing
right?
to do. And so they're like, you're not going to get a lot of day of people that are just going to be out and go, like, say it's happening at the Vogue Theater and, like, walking by the Vogue and going, oh, there's a comedy show.
I'll
you
just
might
step right
get
in.
4 people maybe that might do that. But most of them you're going to have to, like, tell them that the show is going on and get them out there.
Yeah, it's a plan ahead kind of town.
Yeah, so like the Vogue Theater has been great for us as far as a venue to perform. I think I've performed there maybe about 6 or 7 times now.
I think Joe's done there, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not really sure about what's going on with that, but I mean, I'm hopeful that they still continue to do shows there. And I haven't really.
Fucking great venue. Dude.
Yeah, man, you had fun. You went there, right?
I loved it, man. Yeah. I loved it, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of it was Joe putting it together. Because, like, for me, I was treated like fucking royalty. I didn't have to worry about a damn thing. You know, that green room is fucking beautiful up there. And Matty Richardson was hanging around up there.
I basked in the glory of that day, man. Like, that's the payoff to East Coast comedy is when your boys come by to do a show in your hometown. You can just pop by and crank some beers and have a laugh.
That's pretty rare up in Miramichi, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty rare that happens for you up there. I mean, it happens here all the time, right?
No, I have a great time now whenever there's a show happening in town. Like, most people ask me a lot of the times whether I'm performing in it, and a lot of the times I might be, but I feel I performed home quite a bit now that I would kind of like to build up some material, and then in the summer, I think I'm going to do like another big show.
Oh, nice.
In the summertime, once like I kind of write a few more new things, and yeah, man, we try to get as many guys up there. I just like bringing the guys up, and then like going out afterwards, and they get to see the hometown and get to.
Now you fucking gave us the slip though that night. It was happened to be New Year's Eve. You weren't feeling well though, and you probably had family commitments. We just went back to the hotel and got fucked up till. Well, I think I put everyone to bed around 3:30.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and then I called my wife and talked to her on the phone for another hour and a half. I was fucking hammered, stoned, you name it. Fuck, it was a good time.
Well, hell, I think he bought 48 beers or something. I don't even know how much.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. And I had already brought a lot of beer. Joe had a lot of beer. Fuck, we all had beer. So this is cool, man. You're headlining Yuks, but you've put in the fucking time here. Like, how long have you been middling for Yuks? You've been working with Yuks for how many years now?
Since I got back, so I guess 4 years now, I guess, since I got back. Because, thankfully for me, I had, friends as far as, guys like Jeff Elliott who were, established Yuks comics that sort of spoke for me
Nice,
when I
vouched
like
for
came
you.
back and vouched for me, and
Yeah.
like was able to get on those like guest spots in Halifax like pretty early on because of that. And then from there, you know, you just have to kind of let yourself be known as somebody that can come through.
So what? Yeah, you definitely have to prove yourself. You know, you can get all the chances you want, but if you don't prove it on stage, you know, chances are you're not coming back very often, right?
And I mean, it's a good lesson to know that you kind of never know who's paying attention or who's watching. So like, you always want to do your best job anyway whenever you perform. But like some nights when you think like you may not have it, you gotta like sort of like screw your courage, man. And,
Yeah,
like,
man,
get
you
up
gotta
there and,
barrel through her.
Yeah, you gotta kind of produce as often as consistently as you can, basically. Yeah.
Consistency, that's the key, man. And consistency in comedy is very fucking tricky.
Yeah.
Very tricky. Now, so let me ask you, man, what advice would you give? There's a lot of young comics around here who are just getting into it that want to pursue it as a career. So what advice would you give them as far as, you know, because now you've made it. You're headlining Yuk Yuks. What advice would you give to young comics around here so that they can get to that spot that you're in right now?
Well, yeah, the biggest thing is, and I'll like fight my own advice here. Do as I say, not as I do.
Sure.
And you have to write a lot. Mm-hmm. You have to just be like constantly writing. Like whatever stupid idea you have in your head, write it down.
Yeah.
And then you never know what that idea might lead to.
Right.
And you might go, oh, fuck, this isn't very funny. But then like you might look at it a month later and like see another spin on it, and then it becomes like a bit that you close with.
Right.
So
and maybe 2 years down the road.
Yeah,
that's
maybe
happened to
2
me.
years down the road. Like, you know, just write everything down, get it down, and then like you don't lose it then. You know, I can't even tell you how many like in my mind epic premises and jokes that have like flittered through this party-abled mind here,
that you
and
didn't
like
write down.
that I didn't write down,
Yeah.
and then like I'm trying to think of it like a couple hours later, and I'm just like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
but you always trust yourself. You're like, oh, I'll remember that one.
Yeah.
That one's so good, I'll remember that one.
Yeah.
And then you go try to think of it, and it's fucking gone, right? But here's my real question, because let's just I'll put a personal spin on it, okay?
Sure.
For me. And this goes for a lot of the younger comics. This would go for Matt Keenan or you know, guys like that. I'm a pretty consistent comic, and you know, I've done, you know, a lot of shows around here. I did the amateur night here at Yuk Yuk's. Crushed, right? Did real well with the crowd. And then Steve Barnes reached out to me for a guest spot when Mike Wilmot was in town. Mm-hmm. Did the guest spot. Crushed, right? I haven't heard back from him. So now, me personally, I'm not going to chase after them. So if someone was willing to chase after them, what do I do from there? Do I start sending emails to Yucks? What do I do to get a fucking paid spot? You know?
I think there's a lot of different avenues that people have taken in order to like kind of get into whatever the machine is or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Right.
But I think it's just a matter of even sometimes it's sending the right email on the right day.
Yeah.
And like you just happen to catch somebody when they're like, oh yeah, like Mark Splude, I forgot about that guy. Let's get him up.
Yeah.
You know.
Or maybe they need someone, right? Maybe they need
They
someone
need
around
somebody
that time or something. Yeah.
around that time, and like everybody that's working right, everybody that wants to be a comic right now in the East Coast, we've now become a resource. And that's how you kind of have to think of yourself, is that you have to be ready and prepared to go at any time.
Right.
So that if the call comes in, you know, you can say, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe if you don't entirely feel prepared for it, you just go and do it anyway, because it's not going to derail anything.
Yeah.
Like, we're all just working around here.
That's right.
But people, like we talked about consistency, like people who are making the decisions a long ways away, they just want to know that they're going to put somebody on stage that's not going to bomb, basically.
Someone they can trust.
Yeah, that's basically
to at least be mediocre.
Yeah, to at least.
You know what I mean? No,
not
but really,
have people walking out and going, "Why is Yucks
that
having
was
somebody
fucking terrible.
on there?" But I mean, I like send tape, send any video you have along with like an email, and like just be like, "Hey, look, I know you guys have 2 clubs in the East Coast now, and it's like you guys are gonna need comics you can trust.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm doing." You know, and then they can see it, and then hopefully it gets seen by the right people. And I say hopefully because, you know, sometimes things don't happen. You
Man,
know?
there's a lot of comics here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The competition is crazy. Right? Like, how many people do you think are sending those kind of emails to Yuks just from this area?
I hope
right?
a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I hope so too. I'm the kind of guy, like, I can't market myself. I think for me, it's almost impossible. I hate that end of it. I hate asking for spots. I hate trying to promote myself. I'm not very good at that end of fucking comedy, you know, but, most of the kids around here, like Matt and Sam and guys like that, they're fucking great at self-promotion.
Yeah, they're really great. Yeah.
I think, and I've been harping about this in my podcast since this club opened. If you want spots here, you got to come here all the time, right? Come out and watch the shows. Be available for a guest spot, like you said. Just always be available, right? Yeah.
And no, but I know that the Yuks wants comics coming out to like seeing the shows and like seeing, you know, what kind of comedy they kind of want up there. But there's like a lot of variety in comics that are like doing Yuk shows and doing shows like, you know, touring shows all over the place. So
I don't think there's any
that's
one
the big thing.
type of comic, right, for Yuks. I don't think you have to be any, you know, certain. You can only be these 10 styles or something like that, right? I mean, Christ, they put Jason Rouse up there. Yeah. You know, and they do that because he sells fucking tickets, right? But he's not exactly your regular fucking Yuks comic by any means. But so what's next for you? So you're headlining here, and then you're going to headline Halifax. Is there an opportunity for you to be shipped to Ontario and headline some of those clubs, or is there just too much competition out there for that?
Well, it's a competition thing. It's the fact that I'm not actually a Yuks comic. I sort of do these situations freelance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. So you haven't signed an exclusive contract.
No.
Good for you, Matt. Good for you, man.
I rarely sign anything because I'm broke all the time, and it's probably going to cost me money.
Sure.
But no, so it's just a situation of, you know, like if I were to go out to like tour out there, I would probably actually have to go like maybe Absolute Comedy Way because they use more kind of, and I know like there's tons
independence, right?
Yeah, independent, and there's tons of comics in Ontario and like Alberta that like, you know, they need their stage time, and you know it's tough to say I'm coming out from the East Coast and that I can just like even get on like middling places, but it's not something I really worry about either. I just kind of do what I do, and when people offer me things,
you take it.
Yeah.
So are you you're more of a hobbyist probably? Or are you trying to do this for a living?
Well, no, that's what I would say is that like I take it seriously as far as
I wasn't trying to
and I get that, but it is true that like I've had a lot of different like aspirations about my like career in what I more refer to as entertainment, like across the board.
Sure, improv, comedy, acting, the whole deal.
Yeah, so I mean, like I enjoy doing stand up, but like I will say that like I don't have the same kind of drive career wise that I had like in my 20s. So I kind of just I personally just like to keep writing and just keep performing
that new shit.
Whenever I can, and then, you know, if certain opportunities arise, I usually, you know, step up and take it. I don't want to like talk lightly about getting an opportunity to headline like a major comedy club. Like it's really fun. It's
and
like
I didn't
really
mean
exciting.
that by saying hobbyist. You know what I mean? It's
No.
Kind of,
yeah.
Not that you're chasing the career. You know.
Yeah, because I would like to sort of find a way to talk about that as well, because I have such respect for the passion that I see in a lot of stand-up comics, and like how much like it really drives them as far as like, you know, when they're getting on stage and when they're performing. And while I might not have that like same level of passion to that level, like I've always enjoyed performing. So like any venue that I can do that at, that's kind of what makes me happy. And just having that opportunity to perform at venues like this, or
you know, and this is a great venue.
Being at the R Bar, you know.
Yes. Well, that's something I wanted to talk to you about, because, and the reason I said hobbyist is because I actually call myself that, right? Like I'm not, and what I mean by that is I'm not chasing the dream anymore. I was, you know, around the time when I was headlining Chuckles, that's it. I'm going to be a stand-up comedian and this is my life. And, you know, and then I got sick like right after that. and changed my whole life, changed my whole outlook. I know I'm not cut out for the business of comedy. You know what I mean? I don't fit into any kind of square in the business side of comedy. And I've accepted that, you know, and I still do well. People call me up, hey, will you do this show? This is the money, here you go, you know, and I fucking love it. I'm like you. Anytime I get booked somewhere, man, I put every fucking effort into it, you know, because I love it. I love the craft. I love pulling the microphone out of the stand. It's all the bullshit that happens before that happens that I fucking hate, you know. But shit, what I was going to say, how come we don't see you as much at the R Bar and stuff? Is it just travel time? Is it just shit like that?
Just travel and work, man.
Because I would love to see you at the R Bar every few months, you know?
And like I said, like right now, a big detriment to me is that, you know, it's working, you know, open mics and that's when you can work on the new stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And when you don't really have that opportunity, like, I haven't been to Wilser's room in years now.
Yeah,
and it's
same
just
here.
because, like, on a Thursday night, I can't really drive down to Fredericton.
Yeah, man.
And then, like, make the drive back to make work the next day. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't really,
Yeah.
like, make a lot of sense, basically. But,
Plus, you're paying for the fuel.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you make a lot of money at Wilser's room.
no, I know,
Yeah.
exactly. But, like, I know Joe had wanted to start an open mic in Miramichi.
Yeah.
But then the problem becomes, like, getting the guys to Miramichi.
Getting us up there on a
to
Wednesday
do,
night.
like, on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I was
You go
like,
an hour
maybe on...
even further.
Yeah, like maybe on a Saturday the guys would come down and, like, you know, maybe enjoy their Saturday night in Miramichi, but
if
on
there's
Wednesday
a place
night,
to stay or something, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's you know, I probably would have just been me doing 15 terrible minutes every week at this Miramichi open mic.
Hasn't he? He's already had a couple up there though, hasn't he?
He did one for sure.
Yeah.
And then I think the second one might have got canceled, and then I think it was just too difficult to get comics to come up. And I understand, like, because I know from all the traveling that I've had to do that it's, you know, you have to make the decision sometimes about whether it's worth to, you know, the gas and everything else.
Dude,
to,
you got to give
get
me
up
a
there.
decent amount of money to get me out of St. John nowadays.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. I just now, like, for Wilsers, I was working every Thursday night for, like, last year. All year I was working every Thursday night. And that's why I couldn't get to Yucks. That's why I couldn't, you know, go up there. But now it's just, I just couldn't fucking be bothered, you know, to drive that hour on a Thursday night, pay for fuel, do what, you know, 8 minutes of comedy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting jaded. You know, I don't know. But I get enough opportunities in this area anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I mean, it's like all like what your opportunities are, like whatever young kids that want to travel all over the place to do, like, you know, 6 minutes, good stuff. You know,
it's
do
their
it.
turn, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's their turn. It's Matt's turn and Sam's turn and guys like that. It's their turn to fucking hit the road and do that shit and build it up. And they all do. You know,
Yeah.
they're all spending money to do comedy.
And that's why they're going to be much better than us very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, that's it. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get, you know. But there is something to be said with born with a little bit of talent, too.
Well, that's
you
true.
know, sometimes you can skate by if you got that little bit of talent. Like, I've had people come up to me at clubs and go, oh, my God, you are so funny. You are so funny. As if I did it on fucking purpose. You know what I mean? Like, hey, don't give me the credit, man. I was born with some kind of talent, right? I can't take all the credit. But I work hard on writing, too, you know. I love to write comedy. I love when I get an idea the night before, and then I can sit down with that idea and flesh it out and fuck around with it, you know. That's one of my favorite things to do. Now, memorizing, I don't fucking like, you know. What's your process when it comes to the memorization?
Well, I kind of take that back to my theater days and, like, how you had to, like, if I can memorize, like, an entire play, chances are I can memorize 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
And also, like, the more that you do your bits over and over again, like, the bits become, like, secondary. In a way, like, in a memorization way. They can't become secondary in a performance way. You always have to, like, give the same energy every night, like, and that's what's going to sell the bit.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, the memorization part, like, after doing it, 20, 30 times, it should be there. And then you just have to hit the emotional beats to sell it.
That's right. And that's why a lot of times I won't do a bit 20 or 30 times because I'm not buying into it anymore. I'm sick of it.
It's tough.
You know?
It's tough.
You know what I mean by that.
And I catch myself, like, I'll do a set, and then a certain bit didn't get the reaction that I was looking for, and I'll be like, at first I'm like, the typical comic, I'm like, oh, that's a rough crowd. It's like, what's their problem?
Yeah. This is funny stuff.
And then when I think about it, I'm like, oh wait, I didn't put the energy needed to like actually sell the comedy of the bit.
Yeah, that's right. You got to be honest with yourself. You know?
Yeah, and so then it's just lesson learned. It's like you have to know that you have to hit those certain performance beats as well to kind of take your performance to the next level.
Yeah, and you got to put some physicality into it. Right? Yeah. You got to put everything into it. Here's one thing I never noticed though. I've never seen Matt Richardson with his phone or with any notes on stage, even when you're trying out new shit. You don't get into that.
No, I mean that comes back to the performance thing that I grew up with. Is like I don't.
If you're doing plays, you can't be out with a fucking script.
Yeah,
right?
I don't dispel like guys at open mics having notes up there with them. Whatever people's process is their process.
Sure.
I've always just been on the mind that if I'm going to get up on a stage with some lights on me and I have a mic in my hand, that like I'm performing then, and it just like it's awkward for me to have like notes on a bench and like be like. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah. I'm just going to check this.
I'd be embarrassed. Personally, I'd be embarrassed, right? Because, the people expect you to know what the fuck you're going to say up there,
And you might fuck up some stuff, but then remember you fucked it up and then do it better the next time.
Yeah, see, I was harping on my intro the other day about, because, there's a few guys around here that do the notes and the phone all the time. And I was harping about, first of all, if you're doing 10 minutes and you need notes and a phone, how are you ever going to do a fucking 1 hour Netflix special? Right? You're going to have notes and phone. Like, while you're doing 10, memorize that. Work hard to memorize it. Then you're building that memorization muscle. So by the time you're doing 40, 50 minutes, you don't have to worry about it, right? But it also comes down to, like we were talking before, the rhythm, right, of your set. There's a rhythm. So every time you pause to look at your phone or read the notes, that rhythm is shot each and every time, and you're resetting, right? But here's something I was thinking about. Actually, I was talking to my wife last night. And I obsess over it, man. I hate to see the notes and the phones. It drives me fucking crazy. But here's what I was thinking last night. When you get up there, if you don't know exactly what you're saying, like you wrote the jokes, they're in there. They're in your brain, right? But if you didn't take all that time to memorize them, if you get up and you have notes, that's your safety blanket. But if you don't, Matt, and you get lost up there, you may create something beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Or at the very least, you're gonna learn how to deal with that experience, right? If you get away from the phone and the notes, because it's tough to grow if you're not up there and going, fuck, where am I? Shit, I lost my spot. What do I do now? How do I work myself out? If you always have notes and phones, you're never going to learn how to work yourself out of those tough spots, right?
Well, yeah, you can paralyze yourself. Like, all of a sudden, it'll happen. I'll be doing a set, and then I'll have it all planned out. And then for some reason, I'll just jump to like a different part in the set that I didn't intend to.
That sucks.
And then as I'm performing, I'm already trying to like, postulate a plan to like get myself back on track to where I need to be.
Yeah.
And so it's that sort of inner dialogue, like inner moment that like hopefully the audience isn't seeing.
Right.
The audience is
You're
just
probably
seeing,
the only one that knows what's going on, right?
The audience just seeing me, hey, bank teller, no money, and I'm just doing some bid. But all the while I'm like thinking 4 bits down the line. I was like, okay, how do I get there? Okay, if I say this, then I can flip it to that and then go over, and then I'll be back on track.
Yeah.
And so then it just like, you can get yourself back on track that way. Or like you said, it's those moments, those kind of pseudo-panic moments that, like, you can surprise yourself.
Yes.
And then you
come
can
up
just,
with new
like,
shit altogether.
New stuff, and then that could end up being, like, a bit down the road, or you could end up, like, being some cool, like, crowd work that you do or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really just about not being so rigid. Like, I'm probably one of the more rigid performers in that I plan out a set, and I want to do that set.
Yeah,
and
I'm with you there.
And, like, that's kind of my modus operandi, and I'm, like, constantly, like, pushing to get the set that I want to do out. Whereas you also have to have, like, some flexibility in that, knowing that, some drunk person's going to yell something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you have to talk about it.
You have to. You have
like,
to address it, right?
There's some things that you can plow through and just like, okay, I'm going to forget that.
Yeah.
But if, like, somebody is like, jumping jack flash, like, in the middle of a bit, and, like, you have to then talk to that person and find out why they yell jumping jack flash.
That's right.
In the middle of your joke.
If there's a couple Tias up in the front row.
If there's a couple of Tias up in the front row,
like
you
on
have
Thursday
to
night, you
acknowledge
have to address
the Tias.
Yeah.
get them to refocus on what they want to do, and then so that's basically like. And when you're doing a longer set, like if you're doing a headline set, you're gonna have more time for those moments. You're just out there longer, so there's more of a chance of stuff like that happen.
Oh hell yeah!
And
plus you're later in the night, so people
later
are
in
a
the
little
night,
more
people are
intoxicated.
drunker.
Yeah.
But it's just about taking your time is another like big thing that I told to a lot of young comics.
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry about silence. Sometimes silence can like create the biggest laugh of the night.
Yeah.
Like if you just let something sit for a little bit, and then like sometimes like it might be a joke that like they have to think about a little bit.
Yeah.
Or like you got the reaction, but then like you just kind of take your time, meander around. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But like so
Slow
many
down.
people want to like fill the air. And some of the funniest things, some of the funniest comics I know are just those comics that are able to just like let it sit, and then like hit them again with something else that like really takes it up a notch. It's like that's a lot of fun.
What I love is I love silence when I'm doing a set. If I just dropped a big punchline and there's a lot of laughter, I'll wait till it stops entirely sometimes, and then look out at the crowd and everyone's leaning forward. Everyone's just so quiet because they're waiting for the next thing that you say. That silence, that's a great silence, But yeah, slowing down is a big thing. When I first started, I barreled through fucking everything. Yeah. I didn't want to leave anybody a breath. Like I didn't deal with, in the early days, I didn't deal with any heckling at all. None. Because I barreled right fucking through. Like I got up, shouted in your face, and got the fuck out of there. A little too aggressive. I was in the beginning. I was too aggressive. A little too angry, too aggressive. When you start, you don't know what the fuck you're doing up there, right? But it's. I want to see these guys. If you're doing, because here, if you're in Toronto and you're doing a set or 3 every night, sure, bring your notes because maybe you wrote it that day. And you're up every day, right? But here we don't get those kind of opportunities. We can't go up every fucking day here. Like you're doing 3 shows in a row here this week. That is fucking rare thing to do in St. John.
Oh yeah,
very rare. So I want to see them take every opportunity you get and put everything into it. Start memorizing now when you're doing short sets before you get to those fucking long sets, and trust yourself, right? You know the jokes, you wrote them.
Yeah.
Trust yourself, because for me, man, I love writing. I love performing. I hate memorizing. I hate it. I don't do it. I don't actually do it. My process is so strange. I'll print out, what I wrote, and I'll just sit it beside me. I'll go on my phone. I'll look at it. I'll think about it. Go back on my phone. Maybe I'll make something to eat. I'll do everything but memorize it. But it somehow works out that by the time I get to stage, I know most of it, right? And what I don't know, then I have an opportunity to work through it, So, I don't know. It takes me out of the performance if I see someone on their phone, right? Fucking hate it.
There's lots of comics, too, that are able to do, like, kind of cool bits surrounding, like, the notes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. If it's a part of it.
Yeah, they're able to, like, interact with it in a way that's, like, pretty clever in that. So, like, then you sort of will give them a pass on it, basically.
For sure.
But then that's them showing their creativity and, like, dealing with this issue that they have, that they want the notes up there.
Yeah.
But they're thinking then about the performance aspect.
Right.
And so, like, for me, that's just the biggest thing, is just always think about what that audience wants and how you can portray, like, your kind of vision into the performance so that you're delivering on a night-by-night basis.
Yeah. And that's, it all comes back to the same fucking thing, doesn't it? Consistency.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard to be consistent if you're reading notes. You know what I mean? And it's difficult to get, the physicality into the performance. If you're reading notes at your phone, it's almost impossible. So what does it mean to you, this Yuk Yuk deal? Like, how big of a deal is it?
Yeah, like I kind of touched on it before. Like, I don't want to downplay things. It's like I tend to try to like act a little bit like I think they say in sport, act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
And so you get that kind of attitude. But like sometimes like then people think that you're not appreciative.
Yeah, you're cocky
of what's
and
going
of
on.
course I'm headlining
But it's more probably just a self-protection thing to like be like making sure that I'm ready to do sets like this. But like just the confidence that certain people in my life have in me to be able to perform have like kind of garnered me these opportunities. And like I said, when you get an opportunity, you're either going to step up and you're going to do it, or like you're going to shy away from it. But you can say no to a lot of things, but that means you're not going to experience very many things. So
you can't say no.
You should always say yes whenever possible.
Yeah. Even if like you don't belong there, say yes anyway. You know what I mean? And by the time you're done, you'll know for sure if you belong there or not.
Yeah, like those are your own insecurities or whatever you want to think. But you just always have to have like the confidence in what you're doing and enjoy what you're doing. And usually other people will come along for the ride then, man. If you're up there having a good time. Yeah. And then, you're sending off those vibes. Yeah. To the crowd. Yeah. If the crowd can tell you're having fun up there, they're going to have fun. I'll tell you what's having fun today is the weather in St. John. Yeah. This has been the most bonkers day
it's wacky.
Of weather that I've ever seen.
Right now it's snowing up.
It's snowing up. Like the snow is like going up in the air.
It's literally snowing up.
Gravity has no bounds to this earth anymore. And like earlier today it was really heavy snow, and then the sun came out, and then like a small tornado made its way
down this alley.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
hey, listen, how great is Carrie Lee's new Darren Elmore song? How fucking great is that, man? I love that song. That's tremendous.
And he's very pleased with the song. I'm sure Darren's very pleased with the song.
Oh, I'm sure he is too.
He would like to spotlight Sean more on the fact that there are very few gay people in Sussex.
Yeah. So, because maybe now they'll start coming out of the woodwork. And,
that's what I mean.
Looking around for Darren. Hey, where's this Darren guy? I got some appletinis.
Carrie's doing the Lord's work, okay?
He really is.
He's helping Darren out. Carrie's better than Twitter, man. He's going out. He's performing songs.
Right.
Trying to get Darren hooked up in Sussex. And I hope it works out for him, man. I hope it works out for him.
He is. He's like, he's a modern-day Cupid, really.
Like, because right now you feel like, did you watch Little Britain? Do you know what Little Britain is?
No.
It's these two British comedians. I'll forget their name, but they're incredible.
They must be because you remember their names.
They have this sketch called "The Only Gay in the Village."
Right.
And that's what I think about with Darren Sussex, man. Like he just goes up to bars and he's just like, "I'm the only gay guy in Sussex." And it's the stories from Darren's life.
It's got to be a tough spot to be in. You still friendly with Darren? Everything's okay with you and Darren?
Oh, yeah, man. Darren and I always got along well.
You probably work with him quite a bit at Yuk Yuk's, right?
Yeah, early on. I haven't seen him for quite a bit now. Just either we haven't been on the right shows or something, but I assume he's still kicking around Sussex and talking about sports and stuff.
Yeah, sports, yeah. Are you a big sports guy, man?
I'm a huge sports guy.
Yes! All right. Who are your teams? What are we talking about? First of all, I'm going to guess. I'm just going to make a big guess here. Blue Jays fan for sure.
Blue Jays fans, he got one.
Okay. Definitely Leafs fan.
Absolutely not. It's a ridiculous statement.
Habs fan?
Yes, I'm a rather gigantic Habs fan.
See, I knew there was something I liked about you, man. And I was thinking on the way over here, what is that one thing that I do like about him?
And that was it. And we found it.
Yeah.
And the Raptors.
And the Raptors as well.
So I like all the Toronto teams except for the Leafs.
Yeah, well, you're
right. Who are the worst thing ever. But I hate Boston too, and I don't much care for Ottawa.
You don't like the Bruins?
And don't like the Bruins.
Really?
Don't like Ottawa. Don't like Toronto. Don't like Philly. Screw them.
Oh, boy.
I like Vegas, though.
Yeah, you like Vegas?
Vegas, actually.
What's the name of their team?
The Las Vegas Golden Knights.
The Golden Knights. They actually have a pretty sweet logo.
They have a sweet logo. Yeah. They're killing everybody.
Are they really?
Expansion team. It's an incredible story in the NHL this year. It's and I got to focus on stuff like that because the Canadians are so terrible.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I haven't been following the whole season, but this city is full of Habs fans. And anytime I see a jersey or a hat, hey, how the boys doing? Oh, not good. They just lost 5 in a row, 7 in a row. It sounds like it's been a bad season.
There was a game this afternoon. I watched Star Wars Rebels instead. I was
no.
watching Star Wars Rebels,
no.
a cartoon, instead of watching the Montreal Canadiens because of how terrible they are this year.
That's terrible. Yeah, that sucks. So is Vegas, they're going to make the playoffs, obviously, then?
Yeah, they're one of the best teams in the West.
No shit. So is this their first season?
First season, yeah.
And they made it to the playoffs.
And they made it to the playoffs,
That's
and they're probably going to go pretty far in the playoffs.
So is that a team that they took from another city, or is that a complete
No,
new,
expansion
fresh start?
team.
Yeah,
big money,
Yeah,
you know, big cash.
Yeah, big
I think
cash.
They
big
had
draft picks.
They had to pay. I think it's like something like $500 million just like for the rights to like have a team. Basically,
Sure.
It's like that. We're in the wrong business.
Yeah, big time.
You know?
Who's their star?
That's the thing is they've kind of like just taken a bunch of offshoot guys that other teams left unprotected, and I think it's that type of thing that like when that happens to you, when you know the team you were with didn't want you enough to hold on to you, then you got that chip on your shoulder there, and I think they're all just playing with that chip on their shoulder, and I think the coaching staff's extraordinary. They're amazing, led by Gerald Gallant, who's a really great NHL coach, and yeah, man, they're just they're rolling through teams.
Who do they got between the pipes?
A gentleman by the name of Marc-Andre Fleury.
No shit,
former
they got
Pittsburgh.
Fleury.
Yeah, he was their star.
Yeah,
he's the big guy they got.
So that's the star. Okay, yeah. I knew there had to be one big name in there somewhere.
James Neal's there too, a former 30-goal scorer a couple of times.
Yeah,
so
okay.
He's a name.
Yeah.
But,
so he's top line for them.
Yeah.
They got Fleury. Wow, good for them.
And their backup's Malcolm Subban, the brother of the PK Subban.
Oh no shit!
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a brother that was a goalie.
Yeah, brother's
where's
a goalie.
Where's PK now?
He's in Nashville.
Fuck's sakes.
That's the team
That
I'll be
off.
cheering for.
Yeah.
Come playoff time.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went with PK, man. I love that guy.
Man. I'm a huge PK fan, man. I remember when he broke out in when did he break out? Like 2008? Somewhere 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. They
one
called
of those
him up for
early
the
years.
playoffs. Yeah. And I went to Montreal to see a UFC.
Okay.
And fuck, man, people were selling PK jerseys on every fucking corner in Montreal, and I got to see like his third playoff game. It's fucking sweet, man. I love that guy. Yeah, I think he had 6 points in the game, most assists, but fucking tremendous, man. I love PK. What about UFC? You watch that stuff?
I watch some of the big event stuff. I watched the McGregor Mayweather, of course.
Yeah, what'd you think of that fight?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining.
In what way did you find it ridiculous?
It was ridiculous because my father is a gigantic boxing fan, and I remember as a kid just watching like all of the big heavyweights, the big light heavyweights fight, and like that sort of the actual artistry that comes with boxing.
Oh yeah, man.
And just watching that fight was like you had this poor McGregor guy who's trained his entire life in an entirely different style.
Different sport altogether.
And then you're just kind of watching Mayweather like lay back, and like you just knew the outcome.
Yeah.
Like if you know anything about like combat sports, you knew what was going to happen.
You had to know what was going to happen, right? But I thought McGregor at least made it pretty interesting.
I thought he did catch him with a couple, I think third round maybe.
That one uppercut he caught him pretty clean
and
with.
then I was like, oh, wait. And then I was like, oh, no, Mayweather's taken some hits before.
Yeah,
like,
man. Yeah.
You don't go
you can't
49
question,
and 0.
Yeah, you can't question his chin. Like, Conor has big power with a 4-ounce glove. But, you Mayweather's seen it all before. That's the thing. He's seen it all before. I was surprised that the ref was allowing McGregor to pull Mayweather's head down and rabbit punch him in the back of the neck as often as he did. Never got one warning about it. Crazy.
The only thing I could think of was that might have just been mandated by the producers of the fight, like ahead of time,
right? That
you're gonna have to let Conor get away with some of
bit
this
of
stuff, so that the UFC fans can kind of get some enjoyment out of this. Because both of these guys seem like douchebags. Okay, like that, like they both like
their personas for sure.
Yeah, there was no like guy you were really rooting for on either side.
Yeah, because they were both rotten people.
Yeah, they're both, but like Mayweather, like is kind of like such a jerk, and like when he had that big like what was it 49-0 record, like in your mind as like a fan of that type of story, you just wanted McGregor to catch him with one accidentally and just knock him out.
Oh yeah, I would say probably 90% of the people who watched that, unless they were involved in the boxing industry, wanted McGregor to fucking win that fight. Just to shut Mayweather up.
Yeah, it'd just be funny.
But it's Mayweather, man. It's Mayweather, But I'll tell you this, Conor's got huge balls just for getting in there with him.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine? Fuck, a guy 49-0, probably the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
And you've never done it.
Fighting in his sport.
Yeah. Under his rules.
I mean, when you talk about the payday.
Yeah, I'd do it for $100 million. I'd do it for $100,000 today, right now.
For $100 million, I would step in the ring with like Mike Tyson Prime.
Yeah.
And just hope I didn't die.
Yeah.
Because he could probably kill somebody back then with a punch.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, for $100 million, I'd get in there with Tyson, let him knock me out and fuck me up the ass when I was out cold for $100 million fucking dollars. Let's not talk crazy here, Matt. Let's talk about what we wouldn't do for $100 million, because that's a shorter list.
Holy God, that would be quite a pay-per-view.
Yeah, right?
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm going to buy it, but I mean,
you'd stream it.
I'd stream it.
Yeah,
I'd stream it.
Yeah, watch the replay.
I'd be like, I don't know if I want to pay for this, but like, I guess Tyson's going to fuck him up the ass.
It can't miss. Yeah, but what if I won though?
Oh, I don't even know what would happen then.
Jeez, I don't know either. That'd be something. Did you? You're a martial artist, right?
I am. Yeah.
So what was your deal? What did you do?
It's
Taekwondo. Is that what you do?
It's like a karate form, and it was formed by my master sensei Louis Maurice, who kind of formulated his own style.
Okay,
and
right.
then he's been teaching it for about 30, 40 years now.
Up there in the Shi?
Yeah, up
nice.
in the Shi.
Yeah, I think we talked about this the first time you were on. Are you still doing it? Are you still involved with it?
I've got 2 terrible knees.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any cartilage there anymore. I'm not a doctor.
Right.
But they're...
Are you a doctor?
They're in constant pain.
Yeah, right.
And that really hurts the kicks.
Yeah.
And the stances that you need to throw weight into your punches.
Footwork, mobility.
So what I'm trying to say is your knees are really important, kids.
Yeah.
Protect them while you can.
Right.
And but I like my father's still one of the main instructors.
Oh, no shit.
And he loves it, and I'm sure it's like added 20 years onto his life, hopefully.
Sure.
And that. And I suggested to any parents out there that like want to like get their really active kid into something that's like really good for your health and teaches discipline, self-defense. There's like a lot of great lessons that you can learn through martial arts. And
even traditional. I'm not a huge proponent of traditional martial arts like karate and stuff, just because I've seen it fail so many times in the UFC. But that doesn't mean it's not a good thing to do, because like you said, man, for discipline and for learning how to fight too. I would lean more towards a martial art that forces competition. Did you guys compete at all?
No, we just...
now I sound like I'm shitting on your martial art.
It's all right, man. That was the discussion. No, we... one thing that we insisted on was in all of our sparring, especially for our belts, it was like 100% go at it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And
to get your belt, you had to spar full on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking great then. That's the next best thing to competition, right?
And like it was important in our style and what we do that like, one of the things that we were always taught is like, if you pull your punches, and I don't really know what martial arts discipline pull their punches. I know there are some, but I don't want to out any right now.
Yeah. I think
exactly
Aikido is one of them, but yeah.
But if like you're training yourself to pull your punches, then in a real situation, you're going to pull your punch.
Exactly.
Because it's like learned behavior.
Yeah.
And
it's muscle memory,
yeah,
right?
It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was important. And we would only really do like the 100% full on for like mostly just belt ceremonies and like actually going into your next level.
Yeah.
Because it got dangerous at times.
Sure.
But it was important, so that you knew that you could actually handle yourself in a real situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say you're going for your brown belt. You got to spar another brown belt? Is that what happens? Or you got to spar someone higher up?
Well, our final 3 belt levels.
Are you a black belt, man?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, you dangerous motherfucker.
It goes brown, red, black.
Oh, okay.
And so depending on your skill level as you got to a certain level, like for instance for my brown belt, I had to fight 4 lower belts.
4 of them, though?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because it was like we were working during that belt, session on like, multiple fights and how you fight multiple individuals.
Right.
And then for my red belt, I had to fight 2 lower belts. So like it was more like singular into like more of the just 1-on-2. But then for my
so you had to fight them both at the same time?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then for my black belt, I ended up only fighting another classmate that was going for their black belt at the same time.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
it was kind of
yeah.
like, you know, two guys go at it.
Yeah.
And
you're both belted, though, right? Win or lose, you're both belted.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to say that they're ceremonial once you get, because, like, it's very important to move on to a next level to show that you can handle yourself in those levels. But, I mean, like, we really focus on form and, like, our freestyle type movement that we do. That's probably the most that goes into whether you're going into the next level.
Yeah, right.
And then, like, the combat part is mostly just to see, like, basically that you can handle yourself.
Make sure you can hang there.
And that, like, the things that you do in your blocks, your evades, are all, like, what need to do, like, technically, so that you're doing things the right way.
Yeah.
No, it's a...
So how did this fight go with you against the two guys?
The 2-guy one was... the 4-guy one was actually easier than the 2-guy one.
Right.
Because with the 4 guys...
They'd hesitate a little, wouldn't they?
They're hesitating, and also you can use them to, like, block each other through your own movement.
Into the other one. Yeah, right.
So it's just like a lot of, like, lateral movements side to side, and so you're just moving them into bad positions for them to be in.
And then you capitalize once they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
interesting.
With the 1-on-2 is very difficult because then you're just like you're basically like double defending all the time.
Yeah.
And so you know, I caught a few
on
all of them.
Yeah. Did anyone like run behind you and fucking like kneel down behind you and the other guy push over top of him? Any of that stuff happen?
Was there any Three Stooges type martial arts happening?
Yeah, probably not, eh?
No, it was like a lot of eye pokes and whoop 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 and But
well, that's awesome, man. You're a black belt. That's fucking great.
Yeah,
you don't go around bragging about it. That's for sure. Most black belts don't.
No, because that's when, like, you know, all the tough guys come out.
Yeah, they want to challenge. Oh, you're a black belt, are you? Yeah.
I don't even like. I used to have some jokes about it, and like I hardly ever do them anymore because you just never know. Like, people are drunk in the audience, and like some guy might like think you're tough or something.
Especially nowadays, right? Because anybody who watches UFC thinks they're a fighter, right?
Yeah.
So nowadays it's like, oh, you're tough, a black belt, eh? You know? Yeah, it's the world sucks. You know, the world sucks now.
And then I usually, if anyone challenges me, I go, all right, buddy, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get my knee braces. You're going to have to give me about 15 minutes to get these on, and then I'm going to fucking kick your ass.
We are going to go.
We're going to go for about a minute.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be very tired.
I'm going to be winded.
Yeah. And then I'm going to, like, say, can you please take me to the hospital, sir?
Yeah.
And the fight will end awkwardly for both of us. Okay?
You'll be helping me into the ambulance, feeling sorry for me.
And we might become best friends afterwards.
Sure.
I don't know. Okay?
You know what? That's usually what happens after a fight anyway.
Yeah.
You know. What do you listen to for music, Matt? Are you a big music guy?
I'm
or are
a
you
big
just
music
whatever's
guy.
on the radio?
I love like all music. I used to say my favorite music.
Jesus, everyone that comes on this podcast, I love all music.
I used to say my favorite music was the one that had the best singers.
Right.
So that's why I always.
So you're vocally driven.
Yeah, I always lean towards R&B and country.
Right.
Because they always seem to have like the best vocalists.
Yes.
And so I guess like R&B would probably be my favorite. I'm a big Stevie Wonder fan. All the Motown stuff.
Oh yeah, Motown was so good, man. I love me some Motown. Country, you listen to like new country? I'm not talking about that pop shit they put on the radio, but like real new country, like Hank the Third. You listen to that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean anything that harkens back to the classics, I think is really impressive. Like, I'm terrible with names, but the new really famous dude, it's kind of the country rocker that's out there right now. Anyway, but it's no, and like, you know, just when you hear an amazing vocal performance, it kind of can take you to a good place, man. Just
like George Jones.
Like George Jones.
Yeah.
George Strait, man. Randy Travis.
The fireman. Yeah. Randy Travis. How great was he in the 80s, man?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he
all
was
those.
Tremendous. He doesn't get the credit now. I mean, he was fucking massive back then. Like, he ran the fucking
all of his
world
songs were number one, man.
Yeah.
And like Alan Jackson later on a little bit after that. And
Alan might have been the last guy. He might have been the one that transitioned from kind of, you know, straight up country to kind of pop country. He wasn't nearly as bad as, you know, fucking some of the Georgia, Florida Lines or whatever. You know, those fucking guys today are just, it's straight up pop music. you know.
Well, Garth Brooks, I find, was the one
Him
that
too.
really made that transition.
Yeah.
For, like, you know, when he first started out, it was all, you know, cowboy hats and checkered shirts and that, and Friends in Low Places.
Yeah.
But then, like, as his career grew, you know, like, arguably, he's probably one of the biggest musical acts of all time.
Oh, yeah. He's still selling out stadiums right now.
Yeah.
Still to this fucking day.
Always wanted to see him in concert. Never saw him in concert yet.
I think he probably made more money in the 90s than any other country performer. For sure. He was fucking
him and
huge.
Shania, man.
Yeah, Shania too. Yeah, Shania too. But, you know,
Shania still looks incredible.
Yeah,
have you
I know
seen
she
Shania
does.
lately?
Yeah, I have,
Holy
actually.
God.
Yeah, I was reading a thread about her the other day, and I was blown away. Looking at the pictures going, Jesus, she held up good. That's, you know, that's money though. Right? If
She's got a lot of money.
Yeah,
she does have a lot of money.
If you don't have to go to work all the time, you can just work on your body and how you look and stuff. It's a lot easier, right? Who's your favorite country star then?
Like of all time?
Yeah, of all time.
Oh, wow. That's
Are you coming down to see James do this Harbor Station show or what?
I had plans to,
Yeah.
and I still want to, but I just don't know if schedule-wise I'm going to be able to. But,
Yeah.
like, we actually have James coming up to do the Vogue again really soon in April. So
Yeah, right,
I'll be able to get to see him there. But, like, I'm interested in the atmosphere.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I didn't go to the last one. Did you go to the last one?
No, I didn't go to the last
one.
one.
So I'm actually going to go to this one. I want to check it out and see what it's like, you know.
Yeah, like, because I just find it hard conceptualizing, like, having, like, that many people in an arena.
Yeah.
And whether it's the same
sound.
the same type of feeling that you would have in a club or whatever. Obviously
Certainly
not.
can't be, yeah.
But still, like, it would be, like, when, you know, a comic's up there really hitting it, and you have that many people into the show, that would be pretty cool to see, too.
What a fucking rush that would be.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? To be on a stage like that, what a goddamn rush. I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was a little bitter last time he did it.
Yeah.
I think more I was bitter just the way he booked it. I really wanted him to book Shane Ogden on there.
Yeah.
You know, so and I said that on my podcast, I think too. But yeah, I'm gonna go check it out, man. I think it's kind of interesting. When's the last time you did Chuckles?
I just did a Chuckles on tour with Shane a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
And
where was that?
That we did, like, Moncton, St. George, and Sussex.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was closing it out?
Haywood.
Oh, Paul Haywood.
Yeah, Paul
yeah,
Haywood.
okay. Right.
Was headlining, and he's a buddy of mine from back in the Toronto days. So
Oh, is that right? You came up with him?
Yeah, it was well,
Nice.
like he just through mutual people we had met in Toronto, and then it's
Yeah.
always fun when, like, I get a big kick when those guys from Toronto that I used to know come down to the East Coast here, and we can party for a while. And,
Yeah. And that happens quite a bit, right?
yeah, absolutely, and get to see they get to kind of have fun on the East Coast, and we get to have a good time and party. It's good.
Yeah. How were those shows? Good
They
turnouts?
they were good turnouts. St. George was, like, out of this world, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you go into some of these small towns in New Brunswick, and they don't know what to expect, and
Yeah.
like they're kind of going to this local bar that they're usually just getting drunk at or whatever. And
Right.
so then you get up, and like Shane on these touring shows does a great job of setting everything up
Oh,
and
fucking
making
right, he
it
does.
like really seem like it's like a club kind of turned into a bar or the other way around.
Yeah.
And
But Shane's always there,
yeah.
shaking people's hands and meeting people, setting up the sound. Like, you don't worry about nothing when Shane's on
No,
the show.
just show up and just do
Yeah.
your bets, and that you know that if we had agreed to go to one of the many after parties we were invited to, things would have got real dangerous and messy. I think.
Yeah. What was the venue that you guys did there?
I think it was literally called like the pub on
Main.
on
Pub
Main.
Yeah,
The pub on
I did
Main.
that one in December. And Shane had set. I think it was Shane that. Yeah, it was Shane that set that up.
Wild crew
That was-
there, huh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. They like to party.
Who was it? It was me, Sam, Arif. I think there was one more. Oh, Rev.
Oh, okay.
too. Fucking Rev just killed that crowd with crowd work, man. That was a sweet little venue.
Yeah.
We got there and the sound was dog shit. So luckily I brought an amp and a mic, and so it turned out really good.
And I think Shane knew that for this time because they like had gotten equipment ahead of time.
Oh,
and
they
were
did.
setting
Oh,
it up
good.
and that.
Yeah.
And Marty D was there, man. Marty Sonia.
Nice.
Yeah, one of our favorites on the East Coast. So
Yeah.
that was a really fun show.
Yeah, we did. We also then I went back. I did that in December, Pub on Main, and then we went back in January. But we did the Legion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was interesting. A lot of gray hair there that night. Yeah. And sometimes gray hair and Mark's Blue don't get along. But actually, I shouldn't say that, man. I usually fucking kill the old people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird because when I first get up on stage, I can see the old guys looking at me and they start crossing their arms and, you know what I mean, shaking their heads a little bit. But listen, funny's funny, right? If you're funny, man, you're gonna get, you know, whether they're kids or fucking old people. Hopefully, I like to perform mostly kids.
And sometimes they love the dirtier shit,
Oh
man.
yeah, absolutely.
Because they've heard it all before,
That's
man.
right.
So they want to hear it again. Yeah, I'm actually going to be at Chuckles at the end of April with the wonderful Deborah DiGiovanni.
Oh, that's right too. Yeah. Arf's on that show too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. That'll be a good night.
Yeah, Deborah was one of the people when I first moved to Toronto and started performing. She was just starting to break.
Right.
And was always super nice to me and just one of those people that like I looked up to and said, oh, wow, she's just kind of doing it. She was doing the same thing. She was working a day job and like coming out to the shows at night and just killing audiences all the time. So I kind of always felt like when I was watching her back then that she'll do well.
Yeah, you knew. Yeah.
And yeah, she's done really well. So.
Now, I'll be honest. I've seen just a couple video clips of her, and not a huge fan of what I've seen on video. But I'm looking very much forward to seeing her live. I no longer judge comics on videos. I used to back in the day, but then once you see them live, you're like, oh, I get it now, right? I mean, comedy doesn't really translate to video. I love watching Netflix specials and stuff like that, but nothing compares to being in the club. That energy, that night with those people. You can never capture that on a fucking video. So I'm looking forward to seeing her live for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because she has that kind of energy too that like really translates into the performance.
Right.
And so like she's providing that energy to the audience and then they're giving it back. So
yeah,
it's I haven't seen her for quite a while, so it'll be fun.
Yeah. She's did she go out to Hollywood and try that shit here, or has she stayed in this country for the most part?
I think she's done a lot of in this country stuff, like she does the Much Music stuff and other things. But I think she's done a few, ventures out to LA and that. Or I think she did Last Comic Standing actually. I think so too. Yeah. I've never seen a lot of that show. Do you watch a lot of that show? No, I mean the first time they ever did it years ago, like I watched a lot of that season.
Yeah. Was Bert Kreischer on that season?
I forget who would even have won it or whatever, but I was mostly still doing like sketch comedy and that, and so it really wasn't what I was doing. And I got super paranoid about watching stand-up comedy because like I'll see somebody do like a premise that I sort of wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then then their joke's a lot better than the one I was thinking of. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I figure if I watch as little comedy as possible,
that won't happen.
Then I won't hear anybody else's awesome joke.
Yeah, you won't shit on your own material. Yeah. How come? Do you do any acting now?
Not as much as I'd like, just because, like I said, with when you get into the day job and that, it's really hard to you say to yourself, maybe I should just do like a local play, and then you forget the amount of work it takes to even just do like a local community play as you'd want to.
It's a big commitment.
And then you do like a 3-show run, and then it's basically done. And I'm not saying there's not value in that. And, I'm a big purveyor of community theater, and I think everybody should do it. But you just kind of have to weigh how much mental energy you want to put into something that. What are you going to ultimately get out of it at the end?
Yeah, for sure. Well, especially right now where comedy's going so well for you, right?
I'm keeping busy enough that... but like I said before, you have to be open to all possibilities that might come up. And that's why if you're kind of always paying attention to what's going on, or, a lot of our job is actually... kind of staying out and meeting people and doing the schmooze thing and talking about ideas, and it's not the easiest part for a lot of people, but it's sort of one of those things that just kind of goes with the profession if you want to kind of go to a next level, or
if you want to do it for a profession. Yeah, absolutely. Shit, I was fucking. Oh yes. Have you seen the web series that we've been working on down here, The Hard Times.
I've caught a few clips.
Yeah.
I've been in contact with Matt.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. About maybe doing something. So we're
We're
trying to work out the schedule wise.
Oh, good.
I'm hoping to make it happen. I don't know if I can right now, but I want to support anything creatively happening at a New Brunswick because I know what it takes to get anything done. Yeah. And the fact that there are people out here getting things done is very inspiring, and it's very much something that I think we should all be promoting. Yeah. And being positive about. I'm hoping.
I mean, we did a season.
Yeah.
We stuck together long enough to do a fucking season of a show. It's a fucking crazy show, man. I just watched episode 5 just came out at the start of the month. Of course, they drop every welfare day, right? Yeah. The episodes. And fuck, man, I was really impressed with it for local stuff. You know what we're working with. I was pretty fucking happy with it.
Yeah, man.
I wasn't the first few episodes. I was not happy with my acting at all. It seemed I just didn't have much range. I was just this angry kind of character. And but now that the second season is we just started filming the second season, and I'm trying to be real cognizant of my actual acting, because I don't have really a background in acting, right? But I love to be in front of a camera.
But you know what as well, there's seasoned actors that start a sitcom or start a show that they're doing, and they probably aren't happy with their acting until after the first season or into the second season.
Look at Seinfeld, right? I mean, that first season was, you could tell it was gonna be something, but the first season was
And it takes time to find a character and find the beats. Yeah. And find just the little idiosyncrasies that are actually going to make the character interesting. Yeah. And when you first start, when you're going off a pilot, a lot of it's on the page, and that's what you hope for. You hope that it's in the writing mostly. Yeah. That's going to drive the boat. But you're going to get those performance beats as you keep performing that character. Yeah. And get to know that character. Exactly. Yeah. And then you'll find yourself elevating the writing with your performance that you now know the character. Right. So that if a line comes in, you go, well, actually, he'd probably say it like this.
That's right. And that's what's been happening on Hard Times, right? And the great thing about Matt, he writes it all. He'll write my dialogue, but he says, anything you want to change, make it yours, change it. Matt's great to work with that way.
Well, comedy has to be collaborative. Yeah. Because that's when you're going to get the very best stuff. There's reasons that most comedy shows are all team written in a room with a lot of different voices, because sometimes it takes bouncing the ideas off of multiple people until you're going to grind it down till that thing that's really going to work. Yeah. So
well, and it's a reason why, guys like Chris Rock have been so successful, because he gets together with other comics and has them, come up with some jokes and tags and premises and ideas. It's made him super successful. I mean, it's not the way I would want to do it personally. Then again, no one's beating down my door going, hey, we need you in this movie. You got to do this commercial. We want to throw you all these millions of dollars to do this, this, and this. He doesn't really have time to, focus just on stand-up, right? Yeah. But it's that same idea where, get 4 or 5 people together. You're going to come up with better ideas,
Yeah, I'm cognitive of it too. If I'm at a show and I see somebody perform and I think of a tag or something that would spice up one of their bits. Yeah. And for me, it's depending on how much I know the person.
Right, I know, because that's a weird way to approach somebody, right?
Yeah, so if they're just buddies of mine, then I'll just go up and say, hey man, that bit there, what do you think about this? Yeah. And when most of the time they'll be like, oh fuck, that's cool. Or they'll just be whatever. And I think that's fine, because it's just part of that collaborative type nature. Yeah, man. Of you're just trying to, help out somebody else with something that they maybe haven't seen yet or whatever.
Absolutely. And, well, you want to help them get a bigger laugh, right? Hey, that's a great joke. What about this tag? And it doesn't always work for the person, right? Sometimes people say, yeah, that's great, but I don't think that's going to work for, my style or whatever. But that's always a tricky thing to approach somebody with, unless you know them really well, But, I'd come up to you and say it if I had a tag for you.
And, whenever somebody does, I take it as a gigantic compliment, because it means they're paying attention to my set enough.
Exactly.
That they're, not just, not listening to me when I'm up on stage. Yeah. When somebody can actually come in and be like, oh, hey, I love that bit, but, that means, you've touched them enough that they're actually thinking about the bit or whatever.
That's right. So. Yeah, they're thinking about your material. Yeah, it's very flattering. So what do you think? I mean, when you moved back here, there was almost no comedy here.
Yeah.
What do you think about like looking around this province now? How many fucking comics? I mean, there are comics. I guess there's like 8 or 9 female comics in Moncton who just graduated from Nikki's class or something. They're doing shows all over the place. Have you seen any of these girls?
I haven't, but you know, you talk about other comedy classes. I know Ken did one.
Yeah,
In
Chris
St.
Trotter's
John.
doing
Chris
one now.
Trotter's doing one, and you know, I've personally always been of the mind that you can't really teach stand up.
Sure.
But what on the flip side to that is if that's where someone feels comfortable enough to go, and like sort of learn whatever they can learn, and if that leads to them getting up and starting to perform, then I think that's where the value of those classes being available.
Right.
Because like maybe it's just somebody who's like very nervous about showing up at an open mic and like I don't know anybody and like, you know, how am I going to get on stage, versus if they go do a class with Nikki and then all of a sudden then like Nikki can like talk to some promoters and be like, hey, this is my class. They're going to get up and they're going to do some stand-up. Yeah. So like there's a lot of value to these classes.
I agree. And I've talked to a lot of people from Ken's class and from Chris's class, and I've asked them, you know, why did you decide to do that, and what value do you see in it? And they all said the same thing. They said, you know what, it was just a safe place to try it, to actually try a bit, you know, for the first time. And I think you're right. I think it's highly valuable for that very reason. And maybe it's somebody who wouldn't get into it. Maybe they just, like I met a guy that took Chris's course, had no intention of performing. He just wanted to be funnier in real life, right? Turns out he did. He did do a set at the R Bar, and he did great, you know. But so maybe now he's at work by the water cooler, fucking cracking everybody up, right?
He's killing at the water
cooler. And listen, sometimes that's good enough for anybody, right? I mean, listen, we can't all headline Yucks.
Listen,
right, Matt? We can't all do that.
There's a lot of great reasons to get into comedy. Number one is like getting laid. That's just the reason to do anything,
right?
In life.
That's my reason for opening my eyes, Matt.
You know, just making people like feel good. Yeah. You know, and getting laughs, making you feel good. Yeah. Confidence. There's like a lot, just like martial arts. There's a lot of positive things to getting into stand-up comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
So I encourage anybody that wants to perform stand-up comedy to just get up and do it. You bomb. I've bombed a million times. It's like it doesn't kill you. It doesn't make you stronger either. But it
makes
doesn't.
You a little mentally
It doesn't
stronger.
kill you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then you get up again and you do it again. And,
when's the last time you bombed, Matt? You're a consistent comic, dude.
It's mostly for me personally. It's when I feel that like it was definitely at an open mic, and it's when I'm doing like a bunch of really new material that I don't believe in yet. Yeah. And I would say it was probably at Gus's pub in Halifax.
I've heard that's a tough spot anyway.
It is a tough crowd there sometimes, or it can be a great crowd. Right. And I think I like decided to go on the show last minute. I'm making a bunch of excuses now as to why it happened.
You have to.
The
crowd sucked.
Yeah, I did not get the reaction I was looking for. Yeah, I was sick, and I had like, you know.
Was it a full bomb, or you just didn't get the response you wanted?
It was pretty quiet. Yeah. From my memory of it, it was very quiet.
Yeah.
So there might have been some inappropriate jokes told. That might have actually helped. Yeah. I think that was there weren't enough inappropriate jokes.
There's never enough inappropriate jokes. I really felt for Carrie and for Glenn Thursday night, because the crowd, like they had great stuff, and the crowd was just so quiet, and it made me so nervous for you. I was like, oh, come on, we can't.
You know I always kill it. Come on now.
I know, right? But sometimes, right? It's not very often, even though comics say it's very often. It's not very often you get a bad crowd, but sometimes it is a bad crowd.
Oh, hell, right? I was performing here in the summer. I was middling, and it was a Saturday night, and I think that's why it was unexpected, but there was probably only like 30 people here on a Saturday night.
Really?
And it was just the weirdest crowd, and then I tend to, like, I don't get super involved in a lot of crowd work, and especially not a lot of negative crowd work. Yeah. But I had to that night, and I just, like, was firing off on, like, everybody. and like not like doing it the right way. So yeah, I just remember getting off stage and like having one of the other comics go, "Man, I've never fucking seen you freak out in an audience like that before." I was like, "Yeah, it happens every now and then."
Yeah. But that's a great learning experience when that happens.
Yeah.
You don't want to go through it, but that's a great learning experience. Let me ask you, who's your? You've probably seen a few of the newer. Who is one of your favorite newer comics around on this scene right now?
Man, like all these young kids, like from Ben and Travis and Matt and Sam, you know, I just like the work ethic.
Yeah.
I like that they're doing podcasts. I like that they're getting as much. I like they're creating shows.
Yeah.
They're creating interesting shows.
Yeah.
They're doing like this really cool kind of improv stand-up thing that
The set list.
Yeah, the set list.
When
that
are
I told
you?
Matt.
You got to come down for that.
Yeah,
man.
like I want to because like I
that's
miss
right
doing
up
improv.
your alley, dude.
And like to see these shows and to just like see the work ethic that's going into it, you feel good because you know that these guys have the passion that they're just going to keep on getting better and better.
Yeah.
And you know and if they keep on doing that, then you can't be ignored almost because then you've made something of yourself.
Yeah, man, we're making a lot of noise down here, dude.
And then that's when like the auxiliary stuff happens. You know, you start to get the offers here and there, and then you just sort of like take those offers and run with it. And it's about building like the community, and I think the community's still building.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
It's and then like you know you got like just new person popping up after new person, and then like if they come and do it and like it, then we got to find stage time for everybody.
Yeah.
And we got to find venues.
Which means we got to create more shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's about creating venues. It's about creating like a sort of need, like a for comedy and a demand for comedy.
Yeah.
I never went to business school. So
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know all these fancy
you
terms. But it's supply and demand.
Right.
And so we have to generate the
But
demand.
do we know what that means, Matt? We've heard that saying. It's supply and demand. Do you and I know what that means?
Buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
And
throw them all out there.
And greed is good.
Listen, Matt, that was the most fucking diplomatic answer. I never heard one fucking name. Oh, no, you did say 3 or 4 names there.
Yeah, I did.
That was a diplomatic way of getting around that question, and good for you.
I love Dan, too. I didn't mention Dan because Dan actually came and did a guest spot last night at Yuck's and destroyed.
Did he? That's awesome.
Destroyed, man. He's so funny. He's the most prolific one-letter writer that I know, like that he's got like 8 or 9 different jokes on Twitter like every day, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. And he has 2 kids.
Yeah,
it's insane.
I know. He doesn't get out to perform nearly enough, and that sucks, you know.
But I was saying last night that like that Steve was mentioning, it's great to see the guys come out, and I was like, that's like such a great compliment for me as a performer to have you guys come out to the show. Because like it kind of shows me that you guys are liking what I'm doing and you enjoy coming out and seeing it.
Everybody around here loves your comedy, dude.
Thanks.
Now here's the thing. So now you've headlined Yucks. You're this big fucking star.
Yeah, it's true.
So here's what we're gonna do, and I hope you're up for it. I'm gonna book it. Maybe for June or somewhere around there. How about the roast of Matt Richardson?
Oh my goodness!
Are you down for that?
Can I take that many fat jokes?
Yeah.
That's what's
I'm
rolling
gonna book
through my
all
head
fat
right
people
now.
anyway. I'm gonna book. You know what I mean?
No, but they have all the best fat jokes.
Yeah, that's
though.
true too. Yeah.
God
The
damn
ones
it.
they scream at themselves in the mirror every day.
Yeah, just. And Jimmy will be there in a jean jacket, and things are going to be weird.
Yeah, that's right. Things
It'll
are
be a
always
fun
weird when
show,
Jimmy's
though.
around. Listen,
It'll be a fun show.
Has Jimmy headlined Yucks yet?
Jimmy co-headlined with Andrew Vaughn.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Last year.
And so I told him it doesn't count. Mm-hmm. Told him it does not count.
No, if there's a CO in front of it, you know what I mean? It can't count. We're going to do a...
But Jimmy's a gigantic star, man. He opens for Jerry D.
Yeah, that's right.
He's the fucking, he's the hot up-and-comer.
Yeah, that's right.
Know?
Yeah. I think we should do the roast of Matt Richardson. Matt, I just want to say, man, a huge congratulations. It's a fucking big deal.
Thanks,
so
man.
you're headlining Yucks. I enjoyed the shit out of your show on Thursday. I thought it was very interesting. What I noticed, I timed it, and it was about 45 minutes, but it felt like about 20. and that's a huge compliment, right? Because if I was sitting there going, Jesus, is this almost over? You know, that's a bad thing. But
you don't want anyone looking at their watch.
No, not at all. And it flew by, man. You fucking killed. And congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Anything else you want to add? Otherwise, I'm kicking you the fuck off of here.
I have one question for you,
Please.
sir.
Oh, that never happens. I love to talk about me, Matt.
What is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Color.
No, Nick Cage.
I don't know. Now, you're reminding me a little bit of Nick Cage here.
I have
You got that dead stare that Nick Cage has.
I have in a
Snake Eyes.
review of play that I did years ago. I got likened to Nicolas Cage.
I imagine you did. Yeah, well, you talked about that on stage.
I've kept that review.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I was probably
Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is a good movie.
It's pretty good. No, he wasn't in Identity. That was your other doppelganger, John Cusack. That was a great fucking movie. Yeah, probably Snake Eyes. I'm not a huge Nick Cage fan.
So, me, Face Off.
Face Off was very good. Yeah, but he was overshadowed by Travolta, though.
That whole movie is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and like
just the concept.
They just lean into it. They lean into the ridiculousness of it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Now, I did see a trailer for a movie he's got coming out. I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks fucking tremendous. And I can't now, for the life of me, remember what it's called. So, it's for another time. Hey, Matt, thanks a million for doing it, brother.
Thanks, man. Always good to see you.
Yeah, man.